Okay, so hello. We are here live. I am Nikki Wells, your hostess for the Vibrant and Divine Women interview series. And I am here today with Lindsay Weisenthal, who is a business and success coach. Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, thanks for having me. So pumped to be here with you.
I am so pumped to have you. This interview series has been so cool because I've gotten to connect with so many different women who do different things, and it's just continuing to grow, and it's like really sparking these awesome conversations, which was my total intention. So really excited. A little bit about me. I am a health and holistic lifestyle coach, and I work with women who are really feeling like something's kind of missing in their life, like they're not quite in alignment, and they want to really start living their dream life. And I kind of do that through a process of looking first and foremost at your food and your physical body health. And then we kind of look at your personal nourishment and self-care practices. And then most importantly, really reframing the stories that you're telling about yourself. So whether it be around your food or your ability to go out and pursue your passions and dreams. So I kind of do this 3-part thing, and I think that it's really, my work is very much in alignment with your work, although you're a business coach. So I'd love to hear, share with everyone what you do and all of that.
Awesome. So I'm a success coach for rising entrepreneurs, and that's mostly in the wellness community. I work with naturopath, yoga teachers, all the way to, I'm just trying to think what's the other end of the spectrum that I've covered, but it's really anyone who's really working on building a personal brand. And what I do is I come alongside them and help them uncover what their most profitable skill is. And what that really encompasses is soul purpose. So it's your main purpose, and it ends up being the most profitable thing because it's what you're naturally meant to do, right? It's the mission that you are put on this earth to carry out. So once we uncover their purpose and their most profitable skill, I teach them how to monetize the heck out of it, right? But it's really important that they learn to do that in a way that feels in alignment. So this is where our paths cross, and why Nikki and I have a lot in common here, and we're on a very similar mission, is that, business in the corporate sense burns people out, and then they come into the entrepreneurial kind of area and burn themselves out. And so it's like you get there and you're like, how did this happen again? So guiding people to understand how to create your life on your terms in a way that doesn't lead to burnout once again. So so it's a mix of business strategy and a lot of, I want to say self-care, but it's really self-care, mindset, and deep spiritual practice that allows my clients to thrive.
I love that. And such a crucial thing. I see the world around us shifting, and more people, especially the millennial crowd, are really deciding to kind of ditch that 9-to-5 and the whole setting that we've had as a culture here, a work culture for years in this country and really around in the Western world, and like ditching that. And because we have the internet now, you can do your own thing and you can start your own business. And so I think a lot of millennials especially are really into that, and like, hey, actually maybe I can live location free and have that freedom lifestyle and all of that I only thought was, possible in my dreams. And so the work that you and I are doing is so important because people, we had a conversation about this, but people they shift from 9-to-5 into the entrepreneurial world. And then all of a sudden they're kind of like back in the rat race, if you will. They're back in that like grind of like waking up and I have this massive to-do list and like boom, 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 and trying to get everything done. And then next thing you know, it's been a couple of months and you're getting like 5 hours of sleep or 3 hours of sleep or whatever, and you're not eating, drinking coffee all day. I've had so many conversations with people who are like, oh yeah,
and chocolate.
Right? I wake up, I have a coffee, and next thing I know it's like 3 p.m. I have like a chips or something, and then like I keep going. I'm like, oh my God. So totally, that avoiding that burnout and figuring out how you can live in alignment and take care of yourself so that you can be successful. And whether you want to be an entrepreneur or or you're still in a 9 to 5 and just like, you don't want to be feeling that burnout. Like, how can you learn to take care of yourself, get yourself into alignment, and really, when you are living on your soul purpose, I think things just unfold naturally for you, and there's not so much of that forcing, but rather fluidity in your life.
Yeah, and soul purpose for someone could mean being in corporate, right? And this is how to know the difference between being on your purpose and not being on your purpose. Here's the difference. Like, you know, you said like grinding away in the rat race, right? Yeah. So I would rather spend, and I would rather for all my clients and everybody who's here with us today, to spend 4 to 5 hours working in the zone, like in flow, in alignment, lit up, like loving what you're doing, versus 8 to 9 hours out of alignment. Because if you're working 8 to 9 hours out of alignment, you're really doing like 1 hour of work. So when I was at the end of my corporate job, it was like, you know, you're there like the hours you need to be there, 9 hours. And you're just staring at the screen, right? And you're like getting up to get a million teas or water or like all the distractions, right? Any Pinterest, like anything you can do that's not your job when you're nearing the end and you just need to get out. So when I really think about that last, you know, and if my former employers see this, it's going to be great. But it's like when I think about that last week, like I maybe did 4 hours of work, but I was there how long? Wasting my life.
Totally.
So, you know, if you put into place the practices that get you into alignment, then you can work 4 to 5 hours a day because you're in it, you're in flow, you're lit up. And the stuff that's pouring out of you is just pure gold, right? It's not like watered down busy work. So that's the shift.
I love that. So
boom.
Boom. I love that. Pure gold. Who doesn't want to be like pouring pure gold out of themselves?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So do you want to share with us, like, you know, we can dive right into that and just look at what does that mean to be in alignment? What do you share with your clients? Like, you know, what's that process?
Yeah. So first I want to say that the buzz around living your purpose is not of service right now. I want to just kind of bust that myth real quick. The whole follow your bliss thing is a little dangerous. And this is why I think it's dangerous. And you can agree to disagree with me, but I really feel that if I were to follow my bliss, I'd be doing design work still because it was fun and it felt good, but I wasn't fulfilled, right? And so following your purpose and following your bliss often means, like most of the time from what I've seen and what I've personally experienced, that when something is really important to the evolution of your soul, you experience a lot of resistance to doing it. Okay, so I want to like pause for a minute there because we all know what to do to be healthy, right? We know how to take care of ourselves. We know how to be of service, and we don't do it. Why? Right? It's that resistance piece. And so for me, being in alignment and following your bliss and staying on that path is being a spiritual warrior, is doing the hard work. And the hard work is, I started off, and this is what we're going to dive into. This is the big secret, right? I started off with a morning practice. Everybody talks about morning practice, how great it is. I started with 20 minutes. This was 5 years ago. And 20 minutes was great, right? My awareness, I started to wake up. I was working with a coach at that time. My first time working with a coach, I was still in corporate, and like the world started to be shiny again and there was hope. And then that 20 minutes became 40 minutes. And then that 40 minutes became 60 minutes. And as I had to take more, you know, scary kind of fear, like actions that, you know, sparked fear, like leaving my job, putting myself out there, right? Like 2 years ago, being on an interview like this would have never happened, right? So it's that hour, that morning hour has now become 2 hours long. And I'm going to break it down and tell you exactly what I'm doing because it came up. Yeah, I went to dinner the other night with some friends and they're like, it was really early and I'm like, I got to go. And they're like, why? And my fiance is like, she wakes up at 5:15. She has a 2-hour spiritual practice. And they were like, what's wrong with you? But it became 2 hours because my goals got bigger. And I had more resistance. Every time your goals get bigger, you experience the stretch, right? So if you're stretching yourself, what happens is you need more ego management, more management of, when I say ego, it's like your lower self, whatever you want to call it, your ego, your self-sabotage, your fear center, that whole part that sparks in you that says, get up from your desk, go eat chocolate, go, like you stay up late, like do all these things that overextend yourself and throw you out of alignment. You need to manage that if you want to be successful. And so my 2-hour practice, let's break it down.
This is one of the most exciting. I was like, when you told me you had a 2-hour practice, I was like, oh, we have to talk about that on the interview. I need to know what it is.
Yeah, so it's based on a system that I teach called Mantra, which is an acronym. And I think it's the easiest way for me to share this 2 hours that I'm spending in self-care and spiritual practice. The M is for meditation. Mm-hmm. So I spend 20 minutes. I'm not meditating for 2 hours. I want to be clear. If somebody thinks I'm sitting there meditating for 2 hours, like, don't stress yourself out. You can start with 5 minutes or 2 minutes, okay? 20 minutes, I'm meditating, a guided meditation. I am a human. I need noise. I am not some spiritual, holy, whatever, where I can just sit in a cave quietly for 2 hours, right? Like, this isn't that experience. I need help. So I get it, right? And my favorite guided meditations are Deepak meditations. So I do 20 minutes of meditation. The next 20-minute block is, let's see if I have it here, is my Course in Miracles, right? I'll go through a lesson in A Course in Miracles. If you don't know A Course in Miracles, it's a beautiful practice. There's one lesson a day for 365 days. And it's really meant to pull out that lower self and reprogram the way your brain operates so that you can forget all of the fear-based thoughts that we've learned in our culture and return to operating from trust and love and, true self-belief. So that's my next 20 minutes. And we've got 40 minutes down. The next 20 minutes I spend and I'm off task a little from my mantra. Let me come back to that actually. So the M is meditation. The A is awareness, which is what A Course in Miracles helps me with, is being aware of those fear-based thoughts. Then N is non-attachment. This is one of the hardest things for me because being not attached to the outcome is something that, it's ego-driven, right? Like if I'm going to work out, I want to lose weight. If I'm going to eat right, I want to be skinny. We just get attached to like taking the action that's so hard to take, then give me my prize, So I work on what am I attached to and just being honest with myself and looking at it and saying like, okay, like I am attached to signing this client, right? And now that I know, I can surrender the attachment and start to work on letting that go. And for me, that happens through visualizations, like the light string and cutting the cord. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but you basically visualize, a cord of light coming from your heart to someone else's heart. And you imagine it just gently being snipped and separating. And so it's really about delivering value, not about what you get from doing it. So that one's hard. That one's really tricky. And then T in mantra is for truth. This is, again, the opposite of fear for me. So looking at my life and saying, what are the facts? This has been important. Just the facts, like list them out, because perception can get away with you, right? Like you and I can look at the same thing and I can say it's blue and you can say it's purple. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, let's just look at what just the facts are so that I can tune the way that I see things intentionally and consciously create, right? So I'll write down just the facts. Like, this is what's happening. I live in a great apartment. I have this many clients right now. This is what my income is right now. Just facts, no emotion. Awesome. Otherwise, the drama of how I want to tell the story will take over.
Absolutely. So let's pause there for a second.
Yes. It's a lot.
And I forgot to mention that we have the chat box on the live page. So people might be asking questions, and I definitely want to make sure that we're getting to those. So let's look at, again, just to kind of, if you want to do a quick review. So and I'll do it, and then you can see if I'm wrong or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you have your mantra is the acronym that you use for your 2 hours of morning practice, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so far we've gotten the M, the A, the N, and the T. So M is your meditation. You start your practice with a 20-minute guided meditation every morning, which you like the Deepak Chopra meditations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then your A is awareness, stands for awareness, which you cultivate your personal awareness through the Course in Miracles by Marianne. That's not Marianne Williamson. That's
no, this is Helen Schuckman, and what's the other guy that helped her write it? I got the other volume up above. It doesn't say it on the spine. Oh well. Anyway.
See, I'm thinking Marianne Williamson has like an adaptation.
Return to Love.
Yeah,
she wrote a narrative that's about her shift. Yes.
Great. I love that. So that's your awareness. So spending 20 minutes going through one of the daily lessons in A Course in Miracles.
Mm-hmm.
N stands for non-attachment. And non-attachment, you're looking at what are you currently attached to. So maybe being attached to signing a new client. And the way that you work through that is through visualizations and kind of surrendering that attachment, which is a connection to your lower self and your ego. Some of the visualizations that you do, I know some people have asked a couple of questions. So you said with the non-attachment, you're doing the white light, cutting the cord visualization, is that?
Yeah, which is really something that people use for like breakups or heart stuff. But it's something that I found so effective in one of my breakups that I thought, hey, if it works for that, what else can it work for that I'm attached to? So I really got to learn about attachments in my romantic life, and it worked there. So I figured, like, why not? So it might be a bit unusual, but you got to find what works for you and what resonates with you. Other things that you can do for non-attachment is noticing, does this feed my highest self, or does this feed my lower self? And making a choice, right? So listing out what it is you're attached to and just noticing, what is that soul food? Or is it like me, I want attention, I want validation, that part of us that, and it's okay, we all have that. It's like no judgment, right? But just noticing it starts to transform it, because, and this is the law of awareness, you can't change anything you're not aware of. So becoming aware of it is the first step. And then you get to just feel things shifting. So just being honest, like brutally honest, not skillfully honest.
I love that. So then we have our T in mantra, which is stands for truth. And I think this one is so interesting. So you are really just looking at the facts, the current facts of your current reality, and just laying them out for yourself. So, these are the facts. And do you acknowledge facts that are, either good or bad, or how do you, not bad, but say, I'm not currently making the income that I want, but I say, this is the fact that I'm not making the income that I want. So it's not like there's no sugarcoating. I'm just laying it out there. What's the process there?
I love that you just asked this, because this is exactly what this practice does. There's no such thing as good or bad. Is money good or bad? Depends how you use it. If money is used for smuggling drugs and like circulating bad things, money's bad.
Right.
If money is used to build shelters and help people, money is good. And so when we're writing just the facts, it's not bad. It can't possibly be bad unless your narrative makes it so. And so when you write just the facts, you have a clear list of characters, plot, location, whatever, and it's the raw ingredients to then tell a new story. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So this one's...
You're not, there's again, and that's maybe why you do the non-attachment piece before, because you're not attaching, the intention behind this is not to create a new story for yourself, but to rather pull out just what is real. It's non-negotiable, or like that isn't something that you can debate, I should say, not negotiable. That's not debatable. It's like,
yeah. And if you're thinking that it's bad, that your income is whatever, why? What makes that bad? Maybe that's really good. What are you comparing it to? What's your gauge? What, is it like, I would rather make half the amount I made in corporate if I'm making it in a way that makes me feel good. And so it may not be like, just for anybody, I'm giving examples. It's like, the thing doesn't matter. The story you tell around it really does. And that's really what it comes down to. And this gives you an opportunity to look at what kind of story you're telling. And that will make you feel good or bad. And that's up to you. This is the freedom of choice, right? We're creating space where you can step away from it and take the stance of what I call the observer chooser. So you're stepping back, looking at the facts, and you can observe the scenery, and then you get to choose with that space, right? You're not so close to it when you're just writing out what is. Like, my Mac is in front of me. There's a stack of books over there. Like, it doesn't mean I'm messy unless I decide it does, Mm-hmm. So that's how that one works.
I love that. Okay. So that's our MANT. Share with us the R and the A in mantra.
Okay. So release is R. Because now we've trudged up all these facts and you're just looking for a bit of relief at this point. You do want to feel good. We move away from pain, right? So we've done our good feeling into the pain, and now I kind of shift into reaffirming the new story, and that helps. That helps. The first thing is releasing the old, and I do that through EFT. I started doing EFT again, guided. I have not done guided in a year. I think it's a good place to start. I think being guided is always a good place to start when you're new at something, and then you kind of make it your own, So I'm kind of going through the top points, and I'm just word vomiting. Really, it's not I'm releasing the bad stuff. I'm trying to be really honest about what I feel bad about. But then I'm also shifting to tapping on how I now want to feel. So, whether I'm doing it right hasn't mattered in a long time.
Mm-hmm. So just for those for our viewers who might be watching and who don't know what EFT is, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, otherwise known as tapping. And it's a technique that touches on your acupressure points and the lines of meridian around the body. And you can use tapping to release yourself from emotional burdens and kind of move blocked energy through the body. I think tapping is so cool and powerful. You do it for a few minutes and you really can feel a shift. So if you're interested in tapping, you can reach out to either myself or Lindsay. We both use tapping with our clients. So certainly reach out if you have questions about it. So, and I want to confirm, Lindsay, that the R in mantra, is it release or relief?
Release.
Release. Releasing what no longer serves you.
Let it go. Yeah.
Let it go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. So yeah, what's the remaining A?
The last one. So because I knew that we were going to be chatting, I went and dug up all of my old cards, which I'll just quickly show you. But A is affirmation. And these are my affirmations. Can you guys see that?
Ooh, I love it.
They are, and I learned this from my teacher, Steve D'Annunzio. So when I started working with him, he printed out an affirmation and laminated it. And he said, make 5 copies, laminate them all, put them all over the place. And at the time I thought he was nuts. And then I did it, and I put it on my phone, and I have Evernote, so it's on all of my devices. It's everywhere I look. And really I'm affirming my purpose. So getting out of the junky stuff, right? So it's not about what I believe or what I think. It's just about who I am and who I'm becoming and who it is I am to live up to. And it's not really discovering your purpose. It's admitting it and owning it, right? Because we all know it. We just keep resisting it for years and years and years. And saying something powerful, like a whole paragraph, I mean, it's not a short affirmation. right? It's not. So I go through saying this. I put my hand on my heart and I say it. I close my eyes. I say it out loud because now I know it pretty much by heart. I say it a couple of times out loud. And the reason why it's important to say it out loud is because you're putting the vibration out there. Whereas if I just say it in my head, it remains a thought, right? It remains a sentiment that stays captured. And it's really important also to, this dates back, like people have used sound to conjure up spirit, to change vibrations in their cells for the longest time. And this does that. This starts to seed your soul at a very deep level when you're saying it out loud. So I could think like, I'm really great. But until I say, I'm really great, I mean, that changes your physiology, right? You like sit up taller and you're like, I'm so awesome, right? So saying it out loud really creates that transformation and seals it in.
Beautiful. And I think affirmations are such an interesting thing. And I know a couple of people in the chat box have asked questions. So one of the questions was, is there a general affirmation that we can use, or is it really kind of an individual thing?
Yeah. So do we have time? I can read this to you and we could kind of end towards this, but this affirmation that was given to me by my coach is one that he slightly adapts for people, but it's really the core of it. I'll read some of it, is really meant for all of us, especially if you're here joining us and you're, a coach, or and you're in the wellness community and, entrepreneurial space, online space. I think that the kind of pillars that help us really take off are being seen, staying out of our ego, cultivating a love of the process of working, and breaking down resistance. So we all have the same kind of core thing. So this is what it sounds like. I greet this day with love in my heart. I love the divine. I love myself. I love all others, and I gratefully receive others' love. I am an extraordinary value creator. I am a master communicator. I'm uplifting and empowering the lives of every person I meet today. I actively practice non-attachment, focusing only on controlling the things I can control, while no longer allowing events beyond my control to cause me pain. If ever I feel fear or any negative energy, I commit to release it to the universe immediately. I know my knowledge and guidance profoundly uplifts and transforms people's lives. I do this work to evolve society and make a difference. I do this work because it is my sole purpose. This is who I am, this is what I know, and this is why I do it. This intention, or something better, now manifests for the good of all. And so it is. So if you like that, you can steal it, rewind the tape, whatever. But it's a moment to solidify what you're doing here, whether it is teaching, how to eat properly for your body, or business. It's really that statement of, this is who I am, this is what I know, and this is why I do it. So if you wanted to shorten it, it's those three things.
Beautiful. This is who I am, this is what I know, and this is why I do it.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you don't yet know what it is that you do, or your purpose you haven't quite allowed yourself to live and experience that purpose, then do affirmations, can we use an affirmation for coming from a place of, where you'd like to go? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it changes, right? So if you don't know your purpose, you're not completely on your purpose yet, it's show me how to serve. How can I best serve? How can I create value for other people? So it's more of a prayer. Prayer is asking, and meditation is the listening. And affirmation is solidifying what you do know. So those are the difference between the three practices as I see it, right? So if you're not sure, the affirmation is, I am right on my path. I know that everything will be exposed to me in the right time, in the right place. I know this is meant for me. If it has not happened yet, it is just because it is not the time, right? So you're constantly affirming that you're here for a reason. You may not see it yet, but you don't care, right? Because if you're not seeing it, it's not the right time. And I think about this, like, you know, my fiance and I talk about it. If I met him 5 years ago, I would not appreciate him. I wasn't in the space to understand that what kind of a gift that is, right? I would have walked past him. So it's right time, right? So your purpose will be exposed to you when it's ready to completely flower.
And that is, I think, a beautiful piece to kind of end our conversation with, because we can put so much pressure on ourselves to arrive and to be there and to be at this place where we think we need to be. I'm 30 years old. I think I should have a baby by now, or what, you know, whatever it is. And really releasing yourself from that pressure and allowing and just practicing the trust that everything is unfolding in its divine timing for you, and that there's no arrival at some destination. It's this just journey, this path, and you are constantly evolving, and the life that you have will continue evolving with you. And if you want to, you know, if you feel out of alignment and you feel like you're not living on purpose and you don't feel lit up and excited by what you're doing, know that it is your 100% your right as a human being, as a divine person here on this planet, to live in alignment and to live your higher purpose. And that all that has to happen to get there is you really taking that first step and making that choice. Doing a daily practice like this would do someone, I can only imagine the wonders that it would open up for someone who feels out of alignment. And, you know, this is something that you've been doing for 5 years. So if somebody feels like they want to start with a morning practice and they think that, you know, 2 hours is too long, like, it's okay. You do 5 minutes in each category or something, you know, but start somewhere and take that first step. And the transformation and will open up in the most beautiful of ways. So
yeah, and the morning practice does this one thing. I just want to kind of drive home like how important this is. The last part of my practice, by the way, is exercise. So that fills the other whatever was left, half hour or so. But what I want to say is this. If you are in fear, doubt, worry, or you're feeling anxious, or, you know, you're kind of panicked about figuring out your soul purpose, or you feel lost, or, you know, you're in that kind of energy of like wondering and worrying, then the morning practice is the thing that solves that. Because in every moment you have a choice between two energies. You can enter fear, doubt, and worry, or you can leap into trust, love, guidance, right? Those are the two things. When you feel out of alignment, it's because you're in one energy, right? So the morning practice guarantees, for the most part, I can pretty much say that it guarantees that you stay in the energy of love, trust, creativity, guidance, automatic downloads. So that is what it means to be in alignment. It means to be living from your higher self. It means you can't not be on your purpose if you're in that energy. It's impossible, right? So if somebody is over here and they're in that kind of fear, doubt, worry, scarcity, like freaking out, first of all, I feel you, girl. Second of all, you know, it's really important that you start trying some of these things out and figure out what works for you, because you will start to shift. And it's a slow process. You're not just automatically in love and glowing. It's a discipline, and that discipline needs to be cultivated, right? It took me 5 years to cultivate that. And when I don't show up for my morning practice, everybody knows it because my energy is different. And that's, you know, that's everything, because you can implement all the business strategy you want. If your energy sucks, so does your work. I say that lovingly, but it's, yeah, people can feel where you're coming from, and we all want to be around, you know, someone who's glowing. So thank you for having me for this vibrant and divine interview, because you are someone who absolutely glows, and I so loved the high vibe nature of this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, am blessed and honored to have gotten to have this conversation with you. And I think that the viewers are just going to be like eating it up with it. You really provided an amazing breakdown of what it looks like to start getting into alignment and to really make that first step. And so thank you so much, Lindsay. I really hope that we can do this again sometime. It's been awesome. And viewers, the replay will be available on the blog page later today. So if you want to share it out, please do. I think lots of people will find this valuable, entrepreneurs and people who are in 9-to-5 jobs and people who are just figuring out what they're doing, and really everyone. So thank you again, Lindsay, and blessings, be well, and talk soon.
Awesome. Bye, girl.
Bye.